everybody, and welcome to another deep dive. If you're here, you're probably getting ready to welcome a Cane Corso into your life. Huge congrats on that. And I'm betting you're on the hunt for the perfect name. Buckle up, because finding the right name for this breed, well, it's an adventure.
It really is an adventure.
I'm so excited to dive into this today. We've got a stack of articles here to go through, and we even found a podcast episode. It's called Best Cane Corso Dog Names for 2025, Trending and Timeless Choices, and that's from the Cane Corso podcast.
Yeah, I love that episode.
Oh, it was so good. So we are ready to unearth some hidden gems, names that not only sound impressive, but really capture the Cane Corso's history, their traits, and even a little bit of mythology.
I think we'll find some really good ones.
So let's jump right in. First up, let's talk trends. The podcast we listened to revealed some names that just scream 2025. Names like Nova, Zara. They've got that modern, sleek vibe.
Definitely modern.
Yeah.
But then you also have those classic names, the ones that just never go out of style, like Luna or Atlas. It's fascinating how some names just stick around forever.
I know, it's so true. I mean, Luna, first of all, it just rolls right off the tongue. But it also, evokes this picture in my mind of this calm, serene Cane Corso, just bathing in moonlight. It's the perfect image.
You're right, it really fits.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Luna's popularity, it might actually be tied to this trend of owners choosing names that reflect their dog's heritage.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Luna with that connection to the moon, it kind of taps into ancient Roman mythology.
Oh, yeah.
And when you think about it, the Cane Corso has such a rich history. I mean, with those Italian roots, their history is just as rich and layered as those ancient myths.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. So it's not just a pretty name, it's like a little nod to history, too.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
And speaking of heritage, we're seeing a wave of Italian-inspired names for Cane Corsos.
Oh, for sure. Like Enzo, Bella,
Yep.
Marco. It just feels...
It does. And you know what? You're actually seeing this trend across a lot of different breeds. Like, owners are really into choosing names that honor their dog's origin.
I can see that.
It's like celebrating their lineage and connecting with the history of the breed.
I love that. It adds so much meaning to the name.
Yeah, it really does. And speaking of adding more dimension to a name, there's another trend I'm finding really fascinating. It's choosing names that really highlight the Cane Corso's unique traits.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like Valor, which speaks to their bravery and loyalty. Or Onyx, which is just perfect for those black Cane Corsos. Can you even imagine a more fitting name?
I know, it's so perfect. Onyx is just so evocative. You know, it instantly conjures up that image of a sleek, powerful dog with a coat as dark and polished as the gemstone.
Yes, exactly.
Like, the name itself really embodies that characteristic.
It does.
It's not just a label, it's like a reflection of who they are.
Oh, I love that. Okay, but then you have Athena, named after the Greek goddess of wisdom and war. That's a name that demands respect.
It really does. It's a powerful name, and for good reason. I mean, the Cane Corso is known for its intelligence and strength, just like Athena. It's interesting, you see that connection to Greek mythology a lot with Cane Corso names, and it makes you think, why is that such a popular theme?
It really does. Huh. I don't know. What do you think it is?
Well, maybe it's because those ancient myths, they're full of these larger-than-life figures, heroes, gods, and we kind of see those same qualities reflected in the Cane Corso.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, think about Zeus, the king of the gods. He's often associated with power and strength, and that really resonates with the Cane Corso's presence.
Oh, absolutely. There's a sense of majesty and grandeur to both of them. But, it's not just about brute strength. These dogs are also so incredibly intelligent and discerning.
Well, they are.
It's almost like they have a sixth sense.
It's true.
Yeah.
They're just so perceptive. That's where a name like Phantom comes in. It captures that almost otherworldly presence, like a shadow, always watching, always aware.
Yeah. I've also seen Rogue pop up a lot, which speaks to their independent nature.
Oh, yes. They definitely have that independent streak. But it's always balanced with such incredible loyalty to their family.
It's that duality, isn't it? The ability to be both tough and tender, just like Nala from The Lion King. She's fierce and protective, but also incredibly loving.
Oh, yeah, she is.
I think it's a perfect example of how pop culture can influence our naming choices. And I think Nala reflects that same balance that we see in Cane Corsos.
Absolutely. And speaking of names that capture that perfect balance, we can't forget about Rocky. It's a classic for a reason.
It is. It makes me think of a sturdy, steadfast companion, someone you can always depend on.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Bella, which means beautiful in Italian, is another timeless choice. It speaks to the Cane Corso's elegance and grace.
Oh, yeah. Bella's a great one.
And of course, there's always Max.
Oh, yeah, Max.
Short, simple, strong, just like the breed itself.
I know. It's so funny how some names just become synonymous with certain breeds. Like Max is almost shorthand for loyal, protective dog.
That's so true. It's fascinating how a name can carry so much meaning and conjure up such a specific picture in your mind.
It really is. But as much as I love exploring these trendy and timeless names, I think there's another layer to this naming game that we can't forget about.
Though there is?
It's the dog's personality. Because the best name is the one that just clicks with you and with your individual Cane Corso. Like, what if we try to imagine ourselves in their paws for a second?
What if they could choose their own names?
What do you think?
Wow.
What kind of names would they go for?
Yeah, that's a question worth thinking about. I mean, would they go for something grand and imposing, like those mythological names we were talking about?
Or maybe they'd pick something totally off the wall, something that really shows off their own quirks and personality.
You know, one of the articles we read, it really stressed the importance of getting to know your Cane Corso's personality. Like really getting to know them before you even think about names.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, like you wouldn't want to give a super serious name to a goofy, playful pup.
Oh, totally. You want the name to match their energy. Like if you have a Cane Corso who's just a total cuddle monster, maybe Teddy would be a better fit than Warrior.
Exactly. It's all about finding that perfect harmony between the dog's nature and the name you pick.
Right.
It's almost like the name becomes a part of their identity.
I think it really does, yeah. It's like if your Cane Corso is a little mischievous, maybe Rogue would suit them perfectly. It's playful, but it also kind of hints at that independent spirit they have.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And think about how a name can actually influence how we see a dog. Like if you met a Cane Corso named Thunder, you'd probably expect a pretty bold, powerful personality.
That's true. But if you met a Cane Corso named Buttercup, you might think, oh, this is a gentle, sweet dog.
Right.
It's amazing how a name can shape our expectations and even how we interact with them.
It really is powerful.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why I think this whole dog chooses its own name idea. It's so interesting. It makes us think about our Cane Corsos as individuals, you know, each with their own preferences and perspectives.
Yeah, like we're trying to get inside their heads to figure out what makes them tick. What do you think a Cane Corso would consider when choosing their own name?
Well, canine psychology says that dogs are really sensitive to sounds, so maybe they'd go for a name based on how it sounds, something that sounds good to them.
Interesting. So maybe they'd pick a name with lots of rolling R's or a sharp K sound, something that grabs their attention.
Exactly. Or what if they chose a name that reminded them of a place they love or an experience that's special to them? Like if they love playing fetch in the park, maybe they'd choose something like Park or Fetch.
Oh, okay, that's adorable. Can you imagine your Cane Corso running up to you? When you shout fetch, it's like their name becomes a symbol of pure joy.
I know, it's so cute. It's amazing to think about. It reminds us that even though we get to pick their names, they really get to decide who they are.
I like that. And their name becomes a reflection of the bond we have with them.
Exactly. But even with all this, it could still feel kind of overwhelming. Trying to pick the perfect name. There are just so many options.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like we've covered a ton of great names today. But there's one more practical thing we haven't really touched on.
Oh, what's that?
How well the name works in real life. You know, like we all want a name that sounds epic, but it also needs to be a name that's easy to use.
Oh, absolutely. It needs to roll off the tongue, especially when you're calling them at the park or during training.
For sure. You don't want to be shouting some super long name every time you need their attention. Sometimes those shorter names, they're just more practical. Like if you need to get their attention quickly.
Right. Think about it. If your Cane Corso is about to run into traffic, a short name like Max is going to be way more effective than something like Agamemnon.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
But even short names can still be meaningful and strong.
Absolutely. It's not about how long the name is. It's about the feeling it gives you and the connection it creates.
Yeah, I agree. So how do we find that balance, that sweet spot, a name that's both meaningful and practical, something that really fits our Cane Corso?
Well, maybe we can start by thinking about the energy we want the name to have. Like, do we want something strong and powerful or something more playful and fun?
I like that. It's like choosing a name based on the overall vibe.
Exactly. And we can also think about our own style. Like, what kind of names do we naturally gravitate towards? If we like classic elegance, we might go for something like Bella or Luna. But if we're more into modern names, maybe Nova or Zara would be a better fit.
Right. It's all about finding a name that we connect with, But that also fits our Cane Corso's personality.
You know, this whole conversation has really made me realize how much goes into choosing a dog's name. It's not just picking a random word. It's about creating a bond and giving them an identity.
It really is. I think we've done a great job covering all the different aspects, from the trendy names to the classics, the influence of mythology, and even those practical considerations.
Yeah, and we even talked about canine psychology and that wild idea of dogs choosing their own name.
I know, but now I'm curious, what about our listener?
Yes? What are your thoughts?
What about you out there listening? Has anything really resonated with you? Have you had that light bulb moment where you found the perfect name for your Cane Corso?
It is exciting to think about that moment. When it all just clicks into place, you just know. But even if you haven't found that one perfect name yet, that's totally okay. The journey is part of the fun.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? Even if we never quite figure out how to let our dogs choose their own names, I think this whole conversation has been a great reminder to really see them as individuals.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's about remembering that they have their own preferences, their own little personalities, and their own way of experiencing the world.
It really is something special, and who knows, maybe your Cane Corso's name, it won't come from a list of popular names or from Greek mythology. Maybe it'll come from something totally unique to them, like a silly little quirk they have,
Oh, I love that.
or a funny sound they make, or a special place that means a lot to both of you.
That would make it even more meaningful.
It would. It'd be like your own little inside joke, just between you and your dog.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? Finding a name that strengthens that bond. A name that makes you smile every time you say it.
Yeah, it really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Cane Corso names, we want to leave you with a few final thoughts.
Okay, I like it.
All right, so first and foremost, trust your gut. If a name just feels right, it probably is. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, go with your heart.
And second, have fun with it. This is such a happy time. You're welcoming a new member of the family. So enjoy the process of finding the perfect name.
Yeah, make it a celebration.
And finally, remember that the best name is one that reflects that special connection that you share with your Cane Corso. It's a name that captures their spirit, their personality, and all the love you have for them.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
So go out there, explore all those amazing names, and find the one that makes both your heart and your Cane Corso's tail wag with joy.
Happy naming, everyone.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.